She took a lot of different experiences to get the wealthy results, and seeing how my mother and parents had to adjust on the fly. My grandmother always told me, like, she always believed in me, RC, you were better than that. But I did get fired, but I decided not to go back because I was already working. Like I mentioned, I was working hard on myself than I was my job. Don't work for the money, let the money work for you.
What does failure is knowledge mean to you?
The problem is part of the journey, and the journey isn't the problem. It makes it easier to keep going.
RC, thank you again for coming on to the Faith Knowledge Podcast. I just got one question for you. Why wealthy results?
Oh man, first and foremost, thank you for having me today, man. I'm excited for this podcast episode. We're gonna share a lot of game, let people in to know me a little bit better. So why wealthy results? It's almost a spin-off of failure is knowledge. He took a lot of different experiences to get the wealthy results. And wealthy results, it's about helping others, serving others, giving the game that I found out the hard way after going through different learning experiences that made me who I am today. I'm gonna say it again, failure is knowledge, and the knowledge of wealthy results came from failure and came from different businesses that didn't quite work before, and using all my savings, all my 401k. And at that time, coming up, I always said I never had anything or something that I consider myself good at, or people they want to be real estate agents, they want to go to the NBA, they have certain goals. I really didn't have that. Like, I don't know what I want to be, I don't know what I want to do. And just those early experiences of being an entrepreneur, unfortunately didn't work as designed, but I knew in those moments of failure, or those learning experience, that entrepreneurship was for me, and it came out to be what the results, because I wanted to learn how to do things the right way.
That's crazy. Okay. I did a podcast today, and it was around the title was "There Are No Secrets." And then I went and delved behind the podcast of when I was younger, I see all these successful people. I'm like, man, how did y'all do it, bro? How did y'all do it?
Yeah.
And then as I get older and start to learn and communicate with other people, it's like, wait, hold on. You ain't always been successful. You ain't always have what you have now, but it's more so of the journey. It's more so of the failures. It's more so of the growth. You just said that you had multiple different business experiences.
Yeah.
And it's the growth that people don't recognize. Okay, here's the question. From your first couple of businesses, how did you know, or how did you recognize you was actually doing business?
I mean, because I would say that I recognize I was doing business because, I had, just to get in a little detail in, our first business, my wife and I, we had an Amazon business, where we were selling coffee mugs and baby clothes, and it was working. So we was making transactions, we was getting money in, and I think we was able to scale that up to $12,000 to $15,000 a month. But unfortunately, Amazon changed their policy on us right as we order our biggest shipment of inventory. So now we got a garage full of inventory that we can't sell on Amazon, and we tried other different platforms, but it just wasn't the same. But in those moments, even when times were hard and okay, we just lost all our money, it's like, okay, this is what it's like. I like this feeling, we got to figure it out. And even I'm pretty sure we'll touch on this a little bit more, but going back to like my Army days of troubleshooting, I like to figure things out. And being an entrepreneur, failing and going through different things, it's a prerequisite to success.
And well, since you just brought it up, because I was going to wait to bring up your Army, because you was what, Army avionics technician, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna bring it up later on, but since you just brought it up now, it is a great thing that you brought it up, because in the Marine Corps, we learn how to embrace the suck, embrace the uncertainty, embrace the moments we're not sure about, because we do a lot of different things, but we shouldn't, we don't understand why we're doing it, and that's absolutely okay. What we are doing, we are adapting to the climate. We're adapting to the drills. We're adapting to getting there early and it's cold outside. You've had to adapt a lot, not only just in the Army, but just in your life. How did you recognize that adapting was a part of business?
Oh man, that goes even before the Army. That goes back to early childhood days. Just going through different not the regular upbringing, upcoming, and seeing how my mother and parents had to adjust on the fly, had to, okay, this isn't working out. Let's go to plan B. Let's figure it out. There's no time to wait and be down and stuck in the dumps. Either you want to do it or it's gonna get done to you. You know, there's no need to feel sorry about yourself. There's no need to, I don't know. Yeah, you just gotta adjust. That's something I learned even as a child, watching my mother react to certain things that wasn't going her way, and she's still the same way now. And I know my name is RC, but I like to say that stands for resilient conqueror because you got to be resilient, and that's the only way you're gonna conquer anything is resilience.
Yeah, and I hear you saying she, 'cause you said your mother, but I don't hear, was you raised by a single mom?
I was actually raised by my grandparents. I wasn't the ideal child growing up, and I didn't like. We about to get deep now, man. My parents.
If you're okay with it, if you're okay
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't mind sharing because there's someone else out there that may be going through similar things, and their outcome is, in the end, their end goal is be an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, and things like that. And I'm here to tell you it's possible, no matter your background, no matter your upbringing, no matter if your parents on drugs or you. It doesn't matter. There is a way for success for everyone, and so. Yeah, so I wasn't a perfect child. I always had this special attachment to my grandmother. So one Easter, I used to always like getting like fights, sometimes physical with my mother and stuff like that. And I love my mom, my brother. Me and my brother used to always fight and just disagree because I didn't feel like my mom was always giving it her best. She was always playing on defense instead of playing on offense, waiting for things to happen to react. And like I said, she was good at adjusting to those things. And my mom, she's a hustler. I mean, I love her. We still got a good relationship today, but it just wasn't working. My grandmother saw that it wasn't working. So we actually, it was Easter and we got into a big argument at grandma's house or whatever. And that now I wasn't expecting to leave with my grandmother to come get me, but we was back home and just going through our regular nighttime routine. And next thing you know, my grandmother, my granddaddy, they coming to get me. And my mom didn't ask no questions. I was happy. It did suck because I do have a brother. His name is Casey. It did suck. That's my dog. It sucked leaving him behind and because I knew what type of environment I was leaving him in, but it just was toxic all around, and someone had to go, and it was me. So I was raised by my grandmother. Yeah, she taught me a lot as well.
And that's crazy. So we keep going back to the wealthy results. Before you get the wealthy part, the results
Yeah,
has to be taken in consideration. So
yeah,
reason why I asked that question is because I was raised by a single mom who raised three boys by herself. And when I was young, I didn't recognize like the amount of sacrifice that she had to do for us, like the amount of work that went into providing for us, the amount of time and energy that she put into that.
yeah,
But as I got older, as I start to understand life, have my own responsibilities, have my own bills. My wife and I don't have any kids right now, but we are married. We have each other. But just to take care of each other, it's like, hey man, that's a lot. But to take
yeah,
care of three boys by yourself, you gotta go to school, you gotta work, you gotta
yeah,
take care of the home, take care of the three boys, take care of the car, take care of the house. You gotta do all these different things. And then I was like, how did you do that?
yeah,
It's the results that people see, but the
yeah,
journey people
yeah,
miss.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's why I wanted to ask you that because yes, we see RC today. RC today it has wealthy results, but before the wealthy results, you have to go through a lot. Why
Yeah.
you didn't let the a lot stop you from being here today?
Why didn't it stop me?
Why didn't you let it stop you?
Why didn't I let it stop me? Because I always believed in greater. Like I said, my grandmother, if no one believed in me, like I said, I wasn't a perfect child. I got kicked out of school probably every year from like third grade to 12th grade. My grandmother always told me, like, she always believed in me, RC. you were better than that. Because I was in honors classes, I was always smart. I just chose to hang around the wrong crowds, and I didn't always agree to how things were always ran because it's always was like this. That's the way it's got to be. Like, let's make sense out of it. Let's, like, you know what I'm saying, let's change it for the better. Not just do it because it's always been like that. And that was kind of my problem in the army as well. The times where I got in a little bit of trouble because I don't believe being stuck in your ways, and I feel like everything back then in my mindset then it kind of translates perfectly to being an entrepreneur because you don't want to be stuck in your ways. You got to develop. You got to follow the trends. You got to change. You got to grow for to be better. And for those things, I always knew that nothing could stop me. I always knew that there was something on the other side of the hard times. I'm a big believer, and it's the church song "Trouble Don't Last Always," probably my favorite song. So nothing was gonna stop me, and unfortunately, my grandmother did pass, and like I said, she was the one of the first ones who believed in me and always pushed me to be better, to do better. And the times where I did get kicked out of school, and I used to see my grandmother crying in front of the principals and stuff like that, and it hurt me to know I was hurting her. But when she passed, unfortunately, it was at a family reunion, and her last words were, "RC, you better do what I tell you to do." And that right there, it gives me the goosebumps just thinking about it because RC, I'm gonna do what she told me to do, and that's to be everything I can be, search for better, get out of our small town in Sumter, South Carolina, which where I'm from, leave here, get out of there. There's more to the world, there's more to life than here. Your friends, they're not your friends, and all those little things. That RC, you better do what I tell you to do. It meant so much. But just to sum it all up is to go be your best self, go conquer everything that you can do, because I always believed in you. Now show them why I believed in you. Yes,
Show them why
sir.
you believe. Show them why I believe in you. That's hard. I'm sending
Yeah.
my condolences to you as well.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you.
And I appreciate you sharing that because like I always mention, like success looks easy. But until you go through the journey, go through the process, go through figuring it out, the success is not really that easy. You
No.
have to really pick yourself back up. What's that movie, Rocky Balboa? It's
Yeah.
not the amount of times that you get knocked down, it's the amount
Yeah.
of times that you get back up.
Yeah.
You have to keep getting back up after every failure, every lesson. You're growing, you're developing. And when you start to do that, you start to see something differently. I'll
Yeah.
share a quick story with you. So my grandma passed in 2009, and I was like 10. I'm a twin, and I have an older brother. And
Yeah.
when she passed away, I didn't really have a relationship with her because I was young. Nonetheless, I'm a mama's boy.
Yeah.
And the lessons that I learned from my mama, I still apply them today. And it's crazy how
Absolutely.
those lessons just like they stick with you and they understand and they help you become who you are today.
Yeah.
As you start to understand, like grow into yourself, because you to go from a boy to a man, you have to learn how to become a man.
Absolutely.
How did you learn how to be a man?
Oh man! Once again, my grandparents. I kind of put both of them, but just to give them a shout out, my granddad too. Oh man, they didn't. First of all, it translated perfectly when I joined the army. But waking up early, and I kind of grew up on a mini farm, a black person farm, the struggle farm. So we had goats at one point in time. We had pigs, chickens, dogs. We had a lot of things, and cookouts, and everything was held at grandma's house. So, know what I'm saying? Of course, somebody got to do the work to set this stuff up. So we got to make sure the yard's clean, and we had I don't know, I would say our yard maybe was like, just a guess throw a number out there, I say between 5 to 7 acres. So it was quite big, and half of it at the beginning when me and my cousins were just kids, it was woods. We had to clear it out or whatever. And just waking up early, my grandmother had us out there 5 o'clock in the morning, working, doing things, and never. I mean, it's not like generation now, and I mean, I have kids, and I try to keep them off the TV as much as possible because I was outside working, and my grandmother always, boy, you better get out that bed. That sun gonna burn a hole in your tail. So just to just to know I always had to have a work ethic to survive. My grandparents made that very evident that work ethic was required.
And the reason why I asked that is because again, I was doing research on you and everything starting to make sense now. The wealthy results start to make sense why you have the results that you have.
Yeah,
And just not only just the army, because you say a lot of technician, you had a different careers that had technician behind it, right?
yeah, yeah.
What, go ahead, go ahead.
So when I separated, I was avionics technician. Just to clear that up. So we worked on electrician on pretty much on Black Hawk, Chinooks, and some a little fixed wing airplanes. But mostly Black Hawks and Chinook helicopters, and I loved it. I love my time in the army, just the adrenaline rush. And y'all will come to find out that I'm a little adrenaline rush junkie, and that's what makes entrepreneurship so fun because there's gonna be so many highs and so many lows, and like I mentioned earlier, you have to figure it out. You have to, if this is what you depend on to put food on the table, there's no, oh, it didn't work out my way, let me go to sleep. No, you got to figure it out. So when I separated from the army, um, I've always kind of knew I wanted to keep doing the avionics technician thing. So yeah, I continued that. Working on fixed wings with Crane Aerospace and Electronics. But unfortunately, that's because I separated from the Army in 2019, and COVID happened. So the next year, like no industry took a bigger hit than aviation because no one was flying, no one was utilizing aircraft. So I got laid off. No other industry took a bigger hit than aviation because no one was flying. Um, so I got laid off. But at that time before, it's like maybe a couple months before I got laid off, that's when my wife and I started the Amazon business. So we already kind of got a little exposure to entrepreneurship, but you know, just going back to what you don't know, you don't know. And I wasn't really fully committed to being an entrepreneur at that time because I was still a worker. I was still kind of maybe a year, definitely under 2 years out of the army. So I still kind of had that we gotta work hard, gotta work hard. In reality, once I started studying the wealthy and the founders and stuff like that, the harder you work, the less you make. In a sense, I mean, you can make a good living. Don't get me wrong, and I don't want to downplay or belittle anyone that's out there working for a living. As long as you love what you do. I have a saying. We all have two choices in life. We can live the life that's already pre-designed for us, or we can create the life that we want to live. So if you're out there and you're working and you're happy doing that, more power, all the power to you if you love what you do. But if you're unhappy, I challenge you to seek better. Find out what you love and make it a thing. So yeah, I mean, as I digress, kind of going down the rabbit trail right there because I'm so passionate about personal development, man. Because everyone has fire in them, they just have to find a way to light it. Um, so yeah, yeah. So that's a little bit about my story. When I got out as an avionics technician, I continued to do the same thing. Then I kind of transitioned from avionics to a critical facility engineer for a little while. And at this time, we're still full. I'm more entrepreneur than I was working. You know, once again, I'm gonna use a lot of phrases and terms that I like to say, but you got to work harder on yourself than you do your job. And for those that's working, and it's like I mentioned, it's okay to work. There's nothing wrong with that. Your job can be your first investment partner. And at that time, as a critical facility engineer, me and my wife were full time entrepreneurs at that time. I'm working at nights and I'm getting off in the morning. I'm going straight to business networking events and I'm doing things to better my business. Even when I was working at nights, I'm I'm studying business. I was fortunate enough that my job didn't require a lot from me. There was work involved, and it made me mad when I had to work at work. But hold on, my light turned off. Oh, that's okay, whatever. But yeah, it made me mad when I had to work at work and stop doing working on my purpose and what was designed for me. Um, and funny enough, my last day at working there, I don't like to say I got fired because I have a good resume and good background to where I can go get another job if I wanted to. But I did get fired, but I decided not to go back because I was already working. Like I mentioned, I was working hard on myself than I was my job, and I was getting ready to teach my very first workshop for what the results on business funding. And I was in there. I had my tripod and everything set up and everything. I was just working hard all night long, just make sure I perfect my workshop. Unfortunately, we had I was working in a critical facility environment, so we had an alarm go off, and I didn't fully detect exactly what was going on because we always had this previous alarm going off on generator one, and we just reset it and it'll be good to go. But on this particular night, it was generator three. And I automatically think, okay, for the past months, we had generator one going off. So I'm just going there, reset it. I'm just ready to get back to my workshop, keep on practicing. And, and of course, like all those things when it's logged, when generators go off and what is reset and stuff like that. So when they found out that I reset the right one, I didn't follow proper protocols. I got let go, unfortunately. But it was two of us. I had a shift partner, and only one of us got let go. I accepted it or whatever. So I mean, it didn't bother me that I was being let go because, like I said, I was planning on my exit anyway. And I think because stop me if I'm going too much, but I think it was because I was letting people know that whole year, at least 6 months leading up to that I'm leaving. I want to be a businessman. I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm leaving. So I think that made it easier for them to let me go. Cause my son, he was gonna be born in May of that year, and it was January. And I said, when my son's born, I'm gonna take my leave. I'm not coming back. And like I told you, I'm a believer as well. And in that sense, like, okay, the other guy didn't get let go. I seen other people made mistakes worse than that one. They didn't get let go. And that was my very first mistake. Like, why did I get let go? It's like, I think it was more so God telling, why are you waiting for me? Like, why are you waiting for the perfect time? And it's the same thing. There's no perfect time to start. Starting is the perfect time. And so that's a little bit about my experience and how I jumped into full-time entrepreneurship. And like I mentioned, my resume is fit where I can go get me a good job paying six figures tomorrow if I wanted to. But that's not what I want to do. I'd rather go through it and build and design stuff for the future. I have kids that look up to me, and and I want to leave something behind for them. And my job isn't gonna do that.
I definitely agree. It's interesting you just said something about perfect timing because I literally wrote down a quote that you said there. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't
Yeah,
wait for perfect conditions. And the fact that so this is a testament of pivoting on the spot.
yeah,
You can't plan the failure. Sometimes I fail so many times. I start to think, do people think I'm actually lying when I say I'm failing? Like, bro, you cannot plan the failure, man.
man, you
And it's
can't.
like, well, when you are failing, how do you adapt to that? And the way you adapt to everything, bro, is very commendable because it takes something to happen, but it takes you to wake up.
Absolutely.
And when you wake up, it's like, hey man, I've been doing this whole time. I give you a prime example. When I was in the service, you know how you go through boot camp, the schoolhouse, and train and get
Yeah.
stationed. Man, we went through the whole process. Went through the boot camp, schoolhouse, and all these different things. When I got to my duty station, it was like a month in. Man, I was working hard. I was running. I was like doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
Man, I must have looked to my left, and it was a group of people sitting down who are the same rank as me. It wasn't a rank higher. It was literally E2, E3. I
Yeah.
said, hold on, hold on, hold on. Y'all over there doing that? That's over with. From that day forward, I started to work on myself, and I was learning about real estate. I was learning. I read the first book I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
You said something about COVID, and like that's when I started cutting hair. That's when I had shirts and I was selling. But the fact that you said that you're really big on personal development, I think people miss that part. You literally have to personally develop within yourself to become who you would like to
Absolutely.
be, who you would like to be.
Absolutely.
Was it challenging to understand, like, hey man, like they just let me go, but now I have to go full time on my business to try to make it work?
It wasn't challenging at all, man. I was excited. I was shouting. Oh man, I wish I could have. I wish I recorded myself, and that's kind of one of my little small regrets is I didn't record enough of the journey. Because I do aspire to be a speaker. One day, and I kind of already do part-time speaking engagements, but and I wish I recorded more of that journey. And that night of my drive home, I should have had a camera in the car with me just to show. I was so excited. I was screaming, I was singing, I was praising. And like I said, I worked nights, and when I got home, my wife was like, "Whoa, you back early? Like, what happened?" But funny enough, like that whole weekend, because it happened the incident happened my last day at work before my weekend. I knew because they text me the next morning, hey, what happened? Da, 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 da. And I took full accountability for it. And that was it. No one responded after I took accountability for it. So I knew the whole weekend, I knew in the back of my mind, like, yep, that's it for me. And I didn't bring it up to my wife or nothing to say, oh, I'm possibly going to get fired on Monday or when I go back. I just kind of let it play it out. And when I got there, my manager, he was there because I had to turn him like my work phone and all my equipment and stuff. And but I was so excited, man, because I knew everything that I was planning for, everything I was preparing for. It was time for me to actually do it now. It was time for me to step into my next chapter in life, the things that I'm passionate about instead of building something someone else is passionate about because the job I was working at, someone else was passionate to start that. It was their idea. It was time for me to work on my idea. So I was so excited, man. And my wife, she's not here on camera, but if she was because she was worried, like, man, why are you so excited? Like she was calling me a psychopath. I was just in the house, like my team just won the Super Bowl. Let's go, let's go. I was so excited, man. So yeah, I wouldn't say nervous at all.
The reason why I asked that, bro. Oh, you also I wanted to bring this up when you said something about your favorite church song. You
Yeah,
said trouble don't last all the
trouble
time.
don't last always.
Trouble don't last always. I was like, man, when I was young, me and my two brothers, we was like in a singing group, and it was called the Three T's. And the only song that we sung at every church that we went to was "Change Is Coming."
Yeah,
And then when I get old and play, it's like these people actually like
yeah,
change is coming. Like, oh, man, it's mind blow. I forgot to bring that up now, but
yeah.
I digress. Anywho, the fact that you're able to like embrace the failure, it's like, man, nothing can stop you because you've
Yes,
already been preparing beforehand.
yeah,
You've already been practicing beforehand. You already been standing up beforehand. You made a statement earlier. You don't know what you don't know. So when
exactly,
you get into business, you gotta learn what you don't know. You gotta learn how
exactly.
to market. You gotta learn how to sell. You gotta learn the product. You gotta learn finances. You gotta learn operations. You gotta learn team development. You gotta learn so many different components that goes into business.
Yeah,
When
absolutely.
did you recognize, hey man, I need to learn everything that goes into business?
When I got into it full time, because while I was working, I was kind of one foot in, one foot out. I was
Mm.
Mr. Everyone should be an entrepreneur. Everyone should do this. But once I got out there full time and I started going through those different things, like you said, what it takes to actually build a business and not be self-employed, because there are different type of entrepreneurs. If you want to be self-employed, that's kind of easy to do, but you're still working hard and you're not building nothing. I'll let you guys determine what is better for you. But at that time, when I jumped all the way out there, I was like, whoa, okay, this isn't for everybody. It takes a certain mindset. You kind of have I wouldn't say a mental sickness or a mental illness, but you got to be kind of crazy to want to build a business and just jump out there and do it on your own because it's not easy. It's not easy, man. And I got three kids. My fourth one's on the way. And they look up to me and I know that everything is dependent on me building this business. Everything is dependent on me. And just that pressure, like I love it, man. I love it. I love it, man. I love it. About to turn me up. So yeah.
So what I typically do, I try to go off script and to like if I was coming to you to learn about business funding. In fact, we're gonna actually do that because I think that'll be pretty good. So, RC, we're gonna go off script, and if I was to come to you, say, hey man, I see you post a lot on social media. I see you do a lot of speaking engagement about what the results, and I'm trying to get into business, but I don't have the funding for business. What are three tips that you can help me to get started with funding?
The very first one I would say is making sure your credit is structured the right way, especially in the black community. I was Mr. Once again earlier in business. I was Mr. Cash is king, cash is king, cash is king. I don't need credit, but wrong. Wrong. Just because your parents had bad credit or did just because they didn't teach you about credit is very important, and you cannot be an entrepreneur, you cannot be a business owner with bad credit. Fix your credit, and it's not about to go a little bit more into credit, it's not about the credit score, it's your credit profile that matters. You can have a good credit score and your profile is not up to par or doesn't match the good credit score, then you're either subject to low approval amounts or you're still getting denied. And what I mean by that, Terrell can have a good credit score, but he's only have one car payment that he's paying on time, and just because he's paying that car payment on time, he's gonna have a good credit score. But if I have that same car payment, but I also have a mortgage, I have credit cards, I have different things that's building up my credit profile, the lenders they gonna like my profile more because of yours is because you have one. Like you might get approved, but you might get approved. It's gonna get capped at lower approval amounts. So that's tip number one. Definitely focus on your credit profile. Two would be the next structure, your business structure. Don't get out here just half doing it. You want to make sure you all in. You want to make sure you present yourself as a business. You want to make sure you present yourself as a company. All these major companies, Walmart's and all these Fortune 500 companies, they leverage OPM, other people money. They take out loans to grow their company at one point in time. They probably don't do it now, but to get to that point, they leverage other people's money. And when they did that, they didn't go in there with their home address listed on their business. They didn't go in there with at Gmail or at Outlook for their business contact email. You know, they make sure they presented themselves as a business. And so that's what I find a lot that's challenging for a lot of people. Maybe they don't understand it, or um and that'd be tip number three, so I'm gonna hold back. But you got to make sure your business is structured the right way. And I can break down the full structure if you want me to, but email address, home address, not home address, but you want to make sure you have a professional business address. And tip number three would be don't be scared. It kind of goes along with tip number one and tip number two. Don't be scared to invest in yourself. If you're working at the moment, invest in someone to teach you how to fix your credit. Invest in someone to repair your credit if needed. Invest in structuring your business right. Invest in the website. Invest in a business phone number. Invest in the little small things that can take you a long way. Because if you're looking for capital, banks isn't gonna give it to you. The lender's not gonna give it to you just because you have a good idea. There's prerequisites. There's criteria to qualify for funding, and those three things definitely are the biggest three that I see either limit, rejects people, or people just don't understand.
And so just to recap, fix your credit,
Yeah,
business address, well, operate as a business for that, right?
yeah. Business
Business
structure. Yeah,
structure. And then lastly was the
investing in
uh
yourself.
invest into yourself.
Yeah,
Invest because you're big on personal development. For you to go from where you were to where you are now, you have to invest into yourself a lot.
absolutely, absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. My mentor, he always says, don't look at what it's, don't look at what it costs. Look at what it's gonna cost you if you don't do it. Because if you don't do it, it's gonna cost you your dreams. If you do it and it don't work out, it's gonna cost you a little bit of money. And I'm saying you can find a way to get it back. You can find a way. Money comes and goes. Don't be obsessed with it. Don't let it control you. Don't be scared to lose it. Don't work for the money. Let the money work for you. And you got to invest in yourself to get to that point.
And it might seem like a cost, but when you put money into yourself, your education, your development, gym, your health, all these different things, it might seem like it's costing,
Yeah,
but it's really an investment that
yeah,
you have to invest for your future, because there's some things that you don't know. You mentioned earlier, there's a lot of things that you don't know. Or as a Black community, we don't know a lot of different things. Like, bro, how do you start a business? How do you learn about business? How do you learn about leadership? How do you learn about sales? How do you learn all these different things? Well, it's an investment. You have to learn how to
yeah,
do it,
yeah,
and you can't look at the money that like it's like you can't hold on to it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So,
And you definitely for the people who's watching us and they're aspiring to be entrepreneurs, um, don't jump into something for the money, because I've done that, and we might jump into that as well, or why certain businesses didn't work. Because don't chase the money. Chase impact. Chase something that you're passionate about, because it's not gonna last. You're gonna get in there and you're gonna find out maybe it's not, this isn't for you. So don't chase the money. Chase something you're passionate about.
let's talk about it that real quick for the last segment. For you said why some of your businesses fail. Why did they fail?
Uh, the very The very first one was the Amazon business that I mentioned earlier. It was going well, and Amazon changed their policy on us. Funny enough, I have one of the mugs here. I didn't plan this at all, but I have one of the mugs here in front of me right
They
now.
woke.
It says stay woke, and as you can see, you can smoke out of it. It had like a little
Oh, that's
pipe.
hard.
Yeah, so you can smoke. You can put your whatever you want in there, and you can
Yeah.
pull from it right there on the side of it.
Oh, that's
Uh,
tough.
yeah. So, and people were buying. They were going flying off the shelf. And at the time, we believe we were ordering like 200 pieces every order, but they were just going so fast. They were going too fast, and I told my wife, I'm a no risk it, no biscuit type of guy. So I'm like, hey, we need to buy a lot more. First of all, it's gonna give us more return on our investment, because it's gonna be lower cost per unit. But unfortunately, Amazon changed their policy. They weren't allowing anyone to sell marijuana affiliated things on there or whatever. So yeah, we weren't able to sell. We got a garage full of I think 2,000 coffee mugs. We got different designs with like a Popeye one as well. Um, yeah, so that's the reason why that one didn't work out. Oh man, we would be here all day, because I got some businesses that didn't work out. I'll say the second one, I started a trucking company, Plotter Mill Transportation. It's gonna be Hot Shot. I know you all see like the pickup trucks on the road where they're pulling trailers with cars, or regular freight. And I had two friends that was doing it. One of the guys who I was in the army with, and a childhood friend. They both was in it, but they both was driving themselves, and they both told me the same thing. RC, if you don't plan on driving, don't get into this. um, I didn't listen. Once again, because I was chasing the money, I was chasing the half the stories that people was telling on YouTube. They don't tell the whole story. They have an end motive, an end that they're not sharing with you. So I got into it anyway. And the cost of insurance, like this is still around COVID time. The cost of insurance, and to get into trucking, you have to have your paperwork and everything right before you can even get on the road. And to get your paperwork right, you gotta have insurance to show them you're operating as a business, right? So insurance at that time, I believe, was like $2,300 a month. So I'm flying through cash month after month, and my truck isn't even on the road. I'm doing it just to even have a truck. So when it's time to get on the road, I got all my paperwork and everything together. I'm desperate for a driver. Like I say, my friends, they told me, RC, don't do this if you're not gonna drive yourself. And what I told them, my exact words, I'm a boss. Somebody else gonna drive for me. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna figure out the rest. Well, I'm gonna get mine off the bottom, and I'm gonna pay them and take care of everything else. It did not work that way. After paying all that money month after month in insurance, I was desperate for a driver. Someone get the truck on the road. Let's start making some money. It was very hard, and it's still hard to this day. Which I'm gonna speak about in the next business that didn't work. But to find a reliable driver. I was doing job postings on LinkedIn and all these other job posting sites, and no one was just biting, or you find someone who didn't meet the criteria. So I finally found this one guy. He was in Ocala, Florida, and he didn't even. There was so many red flags after red flag that I was just ignoring because I was desperate. And don't get into business desperate, because you're setting yourself up from the get go. And don't ignore the red flags. And a couple of red flags for me, the guy didn't even have transportation to like renew or go to get his medical stuff updated to make sure he could be on the road. So I was driving maybe like I don't know, 30, it was like 45 minutes to an hour away to take him to get his medical appointments and stuff updated and make sure everything is good to go. And how he presented himself in that times where I picked him up and make sure we was getting everything done. He didn't present himself as someone that I knew I couldn't trust this guy, but I was desperate. He was the only person I had to get my truck on the road. And long story short, the very first, I had to even go pick him up to bring him back to the truck stop where my truck was at, so we can actually take off to go pick up the load. And the very first load, just so y'all know, we are here in Florida. The very first load was located in Miami. So he drives to Miami. It's kind of late in the evening. Drives Miami, pick up the load. He sends me a picture of the load and everything. Cool. I let everyone know that the load is coming to the destination. Um, but he calls me like an hour, 2 hours later. Hey, Mr. Holmes, I wrecked a truck. So he wrecked my truck on the very, very first time out. But what makes it worse? Okay, he wrecked my truck. Like I mentioned earlier, you always got to adjust. You always, okay, so what's next? Like, what can we do about it? Is the truck still drivable? Yes, it's still drivable. Um, and that's it. He hangs up the phone. He hangs up the phone. I try calling him back. I'm blocked. I'm blocked. I got no way to get in touch with this guy. I have no GPS on my truck. I don't know where he's at. I don't know nothing. He didn't send me pictures of the damage in that time. Um, so lucky enough, like I said, it was late in the evening at this point. So I was like, all right, I'm just go to sleep. Wake up. When I wake up, I'm gonna go to the trucking parking lot to see if he brought it back there at least. So I was fortunate enough that he was able to make it back to the trucking parking spot. Truck was damaged, and at this point, like, oh man, I already went. I'm already thinking like, okay, what next? This already happened. People was telling me I could have seek law enforcement help and stuff like that to kind of, I don't know, press charges, kind of get damage recovery and stuff like that. But that would have made me stay stuck in that process a little bit longer. I'm already like, what can we do next? I already paid at this point. I already lost like $50,000 in this business in one day. Of course, it took time to build up. You paying for it, but in one day, it all went down very fast. So my lesson learned in that business, listen to they weren't really mentor because I didn't pay them to be my mentors, but I considered them mentor because they was already doing it. My two friends, and they both told me the same thing. RC, if you're not gonna drive, don't do it. I didn't listen. I hired a driver. First day, the driver wrecked my truck, ran off. Um, so I ended up selling the truck and everything. So that was the lesson I learned in that business. And the third one is well. So we're not gonna
Real
get in
quick.
that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, no, you go.
I about to say because one thing that I've learned through you sharing that, bro, you never let the failure stop you, and
Yeah,
you always find a way to get back up. And in addition to that, the failures help you understand how to operate wealthy results. Because
exactly.
now I'm assuming you got things in place based off the
Yeah,
failures
absolutely.
from your previous business. And so, uh,
Absolutely.
but before we end, I got one last segment, and it's called Best for Last.
Yes,
And it's
sir.
where I ask you four questions and you answer them in 30 seconds.
Okay.
You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So question number one, what are you grateful for?
What am I what?
What are you grateful for?
Grateful for? Oh. I need more than 30 for that one. But I'm gonna keep it short. I'm grateful for life. First and foremost, I'm grateful for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm grateful for my kids, my wife, my brother. Those relationships mean everything to me. Without them, I don't know if I can keep on pushing. I'm pretty sure I find a way to keep pushing, but they are the reason why I keep pushing. Even though she's no longer with me, I mentioned my grandmother earlier. I'm grateful for the times that we did share, that knowledge that she did give me. I'm grateful for those things, the small things in life, man. I'm not a materialistic thing. I'm a materialistic person. So I'm just grateful for the small things that just helps me be better for them, because that's what I want to be better for them. That allows me to be better for my clients at Wealthy Results, my partners at Wealthy Results, and everyone that's gonna come through Wealthy Results. It's because of them.
Okay, yeah, that's powerful. What do you have any regrets?
Mm, regret such a strong word. I would say no. I mean, but just to be honest, because people say that they don't have no regrets, they do everything the same. But if I was to go back, there are some things I would do differently. And one of the things I would do differently, like I mentioned earlier, I was waiting for the perfect time to become a full-time entrepreneur. And I was studying, I was doing all the right things. And then I wasn't doing nothing wrong besides go ahead and do it, because there's only one way to do it, and that's to do it. The best way to get experience is to do it. And I was just waiting for the perfect time. Even when I jumped out there and become a full time entrepreneur, there were so many things I didn't know because I was still behind the desk, hiding, or you know what I'm saying, trying to protect myself behind my income. And I could have learned those things earlier if I jumped earlier. Yeah. So that
Great
was one thing.
realization.
Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson that you learned while being a founder of Wealthy Results?
Two. The biggest thing I learned is no one knows you. Just because you start a business, just because you have a good idea, it's a great idea in terms of wealth results and what I want to do. But no one knows you. You have to get yourself out there. And I'm not really an introvert. I'm not an extrovert either. I'm not the type, if I'm in a big crowd, I'm gonna just chill until somebody with natural conversation. I'm not gonna put myself out there. But in business, you have to put yourself out there. People have to know you. People have to. That's the only way your business is gonna grow. People have to trust you. They have to know you. So that's the biggest lesson I learned for sure, is to put myself out there more.
That's a phenomenal lesson. Last question. What does failure is knowledge mean to you?
Oh man, yeah. We kind of went all the way over it during the podcast. When I didn't even mention all my failures, that would have taken a whole podcast in itself. Um, I have a saying: you can make the problem the journey, or you can understand the problem is part of the journey. And once you make the problem the journey, you get stuck on it. You focus on the problem, it becomes an obstacle you can't get over. But once you understand the problem is part of the journey, you realize that okay, that just happened. We just keep going now. That was supposed to happen. It's a prerequisite to success. So once you understand that the problem is part of the journey and the journey isn't the problem, it makes it easier to keep going. And every time you fail, you gain more knowledge. And I kind of reference all my failures as learning experiences, and that's exactly what failure is. It is a learning experience. Get better. As long as you learn from it, as long as you grow from it and get better from it, it's not a failure. It's a learning experience.
Man, this was great. This was great. I do apologize for like the time stops in because it was the conversations were great.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, how can people find you? How can they learn more about what the results and how can they get connected with you?
Yeah, so the best way to find me, even though I'm not on there as much, and it kind of goes back to the biggest lesson, putting yourself out there. On social media, you can follow me at rc.homes or homes.rc. LinkedIn, RC Holmes, wealthy-results.com. I'm always RC at wealthyresults.com. All those ways, I'm always active on all of those platforms. I do take breaks from it because I'm not a big social media guy, but I am looking to hire a social media team to take over everything for me. Because I don't like to brag. I don't like to feel like I'm bragging or pushing myself out there too much, you know. But that's, like I say, it's possible, and that's why it's the biggest lesson that I learned, because you have to put yourself out there, and it's still uncomfortable with me, to be honest. But you got to go through it.
Man, this was
Absolutely.
great. I like to end the podcast with one quote, and the quote has to be from you instead of somebody else. So I go first. The quote that I would say is, "Don't be afraid to fail, because failure is knowledge, and you never know what you're going to learn."
Ooh, I like that. I like that. My quote would be, you said it has to be from me?
From you. Yep.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna use the one from What the Results. Getting access to other people's money to create cash flow is the first step in generating wealth.
That was amazing. That was amazing. RC, thank you again for coming on to the Failures Knowledge Podcast. What was your biggest takeaway while being on the podcast?
Adjustments. We talked about how you have to adjust as being an entrepreneur and going through different. The name of the podcast is Failure is Knowledge, and taking those failures to bring it to knowledge. And you guys probably won't see it because it's gonna be edited out, but there was a little adjustment needed or required in the middle of our podcast, and the way he adjusted on the fly, he didn't hesitate, he didn't let it stop him from continuing the episode. That is what my biggest takeaway from it. You guys have to be the same way in life and business. You got to adjust and keep going.
That's hard. Okay. Then second question. Oh, it's Terrell. It's Terrell.
Oh, Terrell. I keep saying Terrell in it.
Yeah. And then second question, for someone that's hesitant to come on to the podcast, what is one piece of advice that you can give them?
Uh, don't be hesitant at nothing you do, but definitely don't be hesitant to come on the podcast. Terrell is a great host. It's a great platform for more exposure for yourself, your business. It's gonna be a great conversation, very well constructed and put together. Don't be hesitant. If you want to do a podcast, this is the one you want to be on for sure. Get with my man Terrell; he can get you right. Let's go. Let's get it.